West Hollywood, California. Gold's Gym, Vine Street, August 3, 1971, 2:45 p.m. The clang of iron fills the air, weights slam against metal, sweat, effort, and raw determination hang thick in every corner of the gym. This is no place for show-offs or the faint-hearted. Gold's Gym in 1971 is a proving ground, a sanctuary where men come to build real muscle. Bodybuilders pump for competitions, powerlifters chase records, security professionals train to make their bodies weapons. The smell of chalk dust mixes with the sweat of ambition. 37 people spread throughout the gym, focused on their own workouts, their own transformations. But today, something unusual is about to unfold, something that will echo through martial arts circles for decades. Only 12 people will witness it firsthand, and half will refuse to speak of it. What happens in the next 18 minutes will challenge everything anyone thinks about strength, size, and real fighting. Near the bench press, a giant holds court. Vincent Takeda, known to everyone as Vince the Wall, stands 6'4" and weighs 285 pounds of pure muscle. Built over 15 years of relentless training, his arms are like tree trunks, his chest looks like armor, and his legs could crush concrete. Vince isn't just a bodybuilder, he's a professional bodyguard. He protects celebrities, executives, and politicians, and he's the best. 8 years of boxing, 6 years of wrestling, and a lifetime of knowing how to fight and intimidate. Today, he wears a tight black tank top, every muscle outlined under the gym's harsh fluorescent lights. Sweat glistens on his shoulders. Around him, 4 other bodyguards hang on his every word. Vince is telling stories about his latest clients, Hollywood types. They think they're tough because they play tough guys on screen, Vince says, his voice carrying. Put them in a real fight, they fold like paper. His crew laughs. They've heard this before. Vince thrives on contrasting real strength with Hollywood illusions, real danger versus movie magic. These kung fu guys, the flashy stuff, jumping around, making sounds, waving their hands, put them against a real fighter, a real street situation. They wouldn't last 30 seconds. A friend nods. What about Bruce Lee? That guy's supposed to be legit. Vince scoffs. Bruce Lee? The guy from the Green Hornet? Please. He's 5'7", maybe 130 pounds, soaking wet. I could bench press him for reps. Martial arts are fine for movies, but against real size, real strength, real training, irrelevant. Then the gym door opens. A man steps in, slim, simple gray sweatpants, plain white t-shirt, black canvas shoes. No fancy gear, no gym bag, just a small towel draped over one shoulder. He moves with unusual grace, flowing through the room like water. He's Asian, early 30s. Compared to the mountain of muscle surrounding him, he looks almost fragile. But there's something about the way he moves, every step precise, balanced, efficient, nothing wasted. Without glancing around, without seeking attention or approval, he finds an empty space near the heavy bags. He begins to stretch, not the usual gym stretches, but movements that are controlled, almost like slow-motion dance. Vince notices immediately. His eyes lock on the slim newcomer. A sly, predatory grin spreads across Vince's face. "Look at this," he announces loudly to his crew, carrying half the gym. Another kung fu tourist, probably saw a Bruce Lee movie and thinks he's a fighter now. The slim man keeps stretching, completely unfazed. His face is calm, focused, entirely absorbed in his own preparation. That lack of reaction gnaws at Vince far more than fear would have. Fear is expected. Indifference? That feels like disrespect. "Hey, buddy," Vince calls out, his voice booming. "This is a serious training gym. We don't do interpretive dance here. Maybe try the ballet studio down the street." A few people laugh nervously. Others pretend not to hear, focusing harder on their workouts.
They've seen Vince do this before. He enjoys asserting dominance, especially over anyone he sees as weak or pretentious. Finally, the slim man turns. His eyes meet Vince's. Dark, calm, no fear, no anger, just measured attention. He nods slightly, a subtle acknowledgement, then returns to stretching. Vince's patience snaps. He's being dismissed, ignored, treated as irrelevant. "I'm talking to you," Vince bellows, rising from the bench. At full height, he's a towering wall of muscle, every inch of him designed to intimidate. He steps toward the slim man, deliberate, heavy footsteps that make the floor vibrate. He stops about 6 feet away, close enough to dominate, far enough to maintain a semblance of civility. "I said this isn't a place for playing around. You want to do your little kung fu routine? Do it somewhere else." The slim man straightens, facing Vince fully. For the first time, Vince sees his face clearly, calm, composed, eyes steady, jaw relaxed, completely undisturbed despite the man towering over him by nearly 150 pounds. "I am not playing," he says quietly. His English carries a subtle Cantonese accent, precise and controlled. Soft words, clear, confident, no tremor, no submission, just a simple statement of fact. Vince laughs, a loud, theatrical laugh meant to rally his audience. "Brother, look at you. Look at me. We are not the same. You're what, 140 pounds? I could throw you through that wall." The slim man does not respond. He simply meets Vince's gaze with those calm, calculating eyes. The gym falls silent. The usual soundtrack of clanging weights, grunts, and the faint music from a corner radio fades. Everyone watches, discreetly at first, then openly. This is the classic gym confrontation, alpha male asserting hierarchy, bigger guy putting a smaller guy in his place. Usually it ends with a muttered apology or the smaller person walking away. Sometimes it escalates into shoving. Rarely, very rarely, it turns into something else. Mike Chen, a Chinese-American bodybuilder who trains here 3 times a week, recognizes the slim man immediately. His eyes widen. He moves forward to intervene, but his training partner grabs his arm. "Don't get involved," the partner whispers. "Vince will turn on you, too." Mike hesitates. He knows what's coming. He knows Vince has no idea who he's facing, but some lessons can only be learned in the moment. Vince, oblivious, continues, enjoying the spectacle. "I'll tell you what, little man," he thumps his massive chest for emphasis. "Since you seem confused about where you are, let me educate you. This is a gym for serious athletes, people who understand real strength, real power, not movie magic, not fantasy fighting, real dominance. You kung fu guys," he goes on, gesturing expansively, "practice forms, cutters, whatever you call them. You break boards, you do demonstrations, very impressive for children's birthday parties, but put you against a real trained fighter with real size and real strength, you're nothing." The slim man does not flinch. He listens politely, as if Vince is giving a genuine lesson rather than hurling insults. "I have trained in boxing," Vince continues, pride thick in his voice. 8 years of boxing, 6 years of Greco-Roman wrestling. I know what real combat looks like. And when you put a 140-pound kung fu dancer against a 285-pound trained fighter, there's only one outcome." "You are correct," the slim man replies quietly. Vince blinks, surprised.
"You are correct," the slim man said, his voice calm but clear. "Size and strength do matter. In a fight between 2 untrained people, the bigger, stronger person usually wins. It's simple physics." Vince grinned, convinced he'd won. Finally, someone with common sense. But the man continued, his tone steady, unshakable. "You are wrong about something important." "Oh yeah? What's that?" Vince asked, cocky. "You assume martial arts training is the same as what you've seen in movies and demonstrations. You assume it's just performance. That assumption is dangerous." Vince's grin faltered slightly. There was something in the way this man spoke, calm, precise,
Not aggressive, not defensive, certain. The kind of certainty that comes from knowledge, not ego. Dangerous. Vince laughed again, this time forced. "You threatening me, little man?" "No," the man replied simply. "I am teaching you, for free. You should listen." The gym was silent. Even the faint music from the corner radio had stopped. 37 people were present, yet it felt like the world had shrunk to just these two men, 6 feet apart. "You arrogant little—" Vince started. "My name is Bruce," the slim man interrupted, his voice still calm. "Bruce Lee. I have dedicated my life to understanding real combat, not sport fighting with rules, referees, and weight classes, but actual fighting, where life depends on knowing what works and what does not." Vince stared. The name meant little. He knew Bruce Lee from the Green Hornet, an actor, not a fighter. "I don't care what your name is," Vince said, chest puffed, fists clenched. "I don't care about your dedication. Reality is simple. I'm nearly twice your size. I'm professionally trained. I'm stronger, bigger, tougher than you will ever be." Bruce nodded slightly. "Yes, you are bigger, stronger. Your muscles are impressive. You've clearly worked hard to build them." Vince relaxed slightly, thinking Bruce was backing down. But Bruce continued, calmly, deliberately. "But you do not understand combat. You understand weightlifting. You understand intimidation. You understand how to look powerful. These are not the same as being powerful." Vince's jaw clenched, hands tightened into fists. "You want to test that theory?" "No," Bruce said quietly. "I do not want to hurt you." The audacity of the statement, the 140-pound man telling a 285-pound bodyguard he doesn't want to hurt him, pushed Vince over the edge. "Hurt me?" Vince stepped closer, now only 3 feet away. He spread his massive arms, chest forward, exposing his entire torso. "Go ahead, take your best shot, right here. No blocking, no defending. Let's see what happens when your fantasy meets my reality." The gym held its breath. This was meant to humiliate Bruce, prove him a fraud. Vince was confident. He had faced professional boxers, men who could bench press 400 pounds. There was no way this slim martial artist could hurt him. Bruce looked at Vince for a long moment, eyes moving from face to chest and back again, calculating, measuring. "Are you certain?" Bruce asked softly. "You want me to strike you?" "Absolutely," Vince shouted, performing for the crowd. "Show everyone what you've got." Bruce took a slow breath. "If I do this, you must promise something." "I have to promise?" Vince laughed. "Yes, promise that afterward you will stop insulting martial artists, stop assuming what you do not understand is worthless." "Fine, fine," Vince waved dismissively. "If you somehow manage to hurt me, though you won't, I'll apologize to every kung fu guy I see. Deal?" "Deal," Bruce said simply. He stepped forward, not rushing, not aggressive, just precise, fluid. He stopped exactly 2 feet from Vince, the perfect distance to execute his technique. The contrast was striking. Vince, huge, imposing, chest forward, muscles taut with confidence. Bruce, slim, relaxed, hands resting naturally at his sides, breathing slow and controlled. "Don't we have all day?" Vince taunted. Bruce's eyes focused on one small point on Vince's torso, 3 inches below the sternum, the solar plexus, a complex junction of nerves that, when struck correctly, can override the body's voluntary control. Mike Chen, watching from across the gym, whispered, "This is going to be bad for the little guy." "No," his partner replied quietly, "for Vince." Bruce's right hand rose slowly, almost casually, as if he were about to make a gesture, not a strike. Vince watched, amused. This was it, the big kung fu technique, slow, harmless, until it wasn't. Bruce paused, every muscle coiled, perfectly aligned, ready to transfer force from feet to fist. His rear foot pivoted against the floor. Power traveled up through his calf, thigh, and hip. His torso rotated. His shoulder whipped forward. Bruce's arm shot forward. The movement was over in less than a tenth of a second. Vince's brain registered motion, but it was already too late. Before his eyes could fully process it, Bruce's fist had made contact. The sound wasn't the usual thud of a punch. It was sharp, precise, like a drumstick striking a tightly stretched snare, focused, penetrating. The fist didn't bounce off Vince's massive chest. It sunk in, 3 inches deep, directly into the solar plexus, the cluster of nerves just below the sternum, controlling breathing and heart rate. Bruce hadn't aimed to break muscle or bone. He had targeted the nervous system itself. Vince's eyes widened. His mouth opened, but no air came. His diaphragm had seized completely, overwhelmed by the strike. His brain screamed for oxygen, but the signals couldn't get through. His arms, once spread wide in challenge, dropped, not by choice, but because his body refused to obey. His knees buckled. 285 pounds of muscle sank toward the floor. One hand hit the ground to stop his fall, now on one knee, gasping like a fish stranded on dry land. His face reddened, eyes watering, fully conscious, fully aware, but his body had frozen. Bruce stepped back immediately. No follow-up strike, no gloating. He simply created space and watched. The gym was motionless. 37 people, yet it felt like the world had shrunk to just these 2 men, 6 feet apart. 10 seconds passed. Vince remained on one knee, clutching his chest, struggling for even tiny breaths. Bruce's calm voice cut through the silence. Breathe slowly through your nose, small breaths. Your diaphragm will recover in about 30 seconds. Vince followed, taking minuscule sips of air. His body craved massive gulps, but he obeyed. Gradually, the spasm began to ease. 15 seconds, slightly deeper breaths. 20, color returned to his face. 30 seconds, he could breathe fully again, though a deep, radiating ache lingered in his chest. Vince looked up at Bruce, disbelief etched across his features. Arrogance was gone, replaced by shock and confusion. What did you do?" Vince whispered hoarsely. Bruce crouched to eye level, not triumphant, not mocking, almost gentle. "I struck the solar plexus with a technique called the 1-inch punch. It's not about raw muscle, it's about biomechanics, about transferring force efficiently, about understanding which targets produce results." He gestured towards Vince's still heaving chest. "Your muscles are incredibly strong. Your chest, your abs, they absorb tremendous force from the outside. But beneath those muscles lie nerves and organs that can't be strengthened with weightlifting. These are the true vulnerabilities." Vince was listening now, truly listening. His worldview had been shattered by a strike from a man he could easily lift over his head. "You said you couldn't hurt me," Bruce continued, "but that was based on a false assumption. You believed that hurting someone requires overpowering their muscles. That's not true. The human body has weaknesses that exist regardless of size. Solar plexus, throat, eyes, knees, groin. No amount of lifting can protect them." Bruce extended his hand. Vince stared, then accepted. Bruce helped Vince to his feet, not because Vince needed it, but as a gesture of respect. Vince stood shakily, breathing carefully, eyes wide with genuine bewilderment. "I've been hit before," he said slowly, "sparred with pro boxers, taken punches from men who could knock out bulls. Nothing felt like that. It was like you hit something inside me, not on me." "Exactly," Bruce nodded. "You've trained your body to absorb external force. That's good for boxing, for sport fighting. But I didn't attack your body, I attacked your nervous system. Different target, different result."